Welcome to William Tells, an insightful look inside the private music studio. This program is brought to you from Pedal Point Music in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, hello, my friend, and welcome to another episode of William Tells. Today, I'm very excited to introduce you to someone who is now an instructor at Pedal Point Music. But beyond that, he's a fantastic musician and teacher elsewhere. His name is Joel Perkins. He's a violinist and fiddler. And today he's here with us to talk about taking fiddle and violin lessons. So I hope you'll stay tuned to today's episode of William Tells. Well, I'm very happy to have in the studio today Mr. Joel Perkins. Glad you're here, Joel. Welcome.
I'm excited to be here.
Joel teaches violin, for one thing,
Yep.
in the studio here, and he's kind of our weekend instructor. But I wanted to get him in today to talk about himself a little bit and to talk about learning the violin and different approaches to the violin. But I'm not going to spill all that up front. Let's talk about, where are you from, first of all, Joel?
Yeah, so I'm from upstate New York in a little town called Saranac Lake. It's about an hour south of the Canadian border. Very small mountain town in the middle of the Adirondacks. Born and raised.
Do they fiddle a lot up there?
Well,
I'm giving a little bit away.
Yeah, well, I'm a fifth generation fiddler. So my family has a long tradition of the Quebecois tradition mixed in with a number of different influences. So as a fifth generation fiddler, I think we've gotten to know the area, a lot of people. Being a small town, there's a lot of history in there. Has a very strong musical culture there.
Excellent. So let's talk about violin, first of all. How old should a child be when they start learning violin?
That's a good question. A lot of people ask that question. There's a lot of physical things involved. Really when a child is ready to learn music, recommend no earlier than 5, maybe 6 is a good age. You really have 2 instruments going on. You've got your right hand and left hand, the right hand with the bow and left hand with manipulating the pitches and sounds. So there's a lot of fine motor skills involved, but a really interested and excited learner at the age of 5 or 6 is definitely a good time for them to start getting into playing and experiencing music and looking at sounds in a different kind of way.
Well, what do you expect at a first lesson with a 5-year-old?
First lesson with a 5-year-old, yeah. Well, lots of short experiences with holding the instrument and just getting used to what is this thing in my hands, and how do I what happens. So high sounds, low sounds, some plucking, some pizzicato. Definitely not both bow together. Probably not even touch the bow. But basically a good setup. Getting them used to putting the instrument into their shoulder and all the different positions from rest position to playing position, and just getting some good finger taps, some good curved fingers, that sort of thing is important. You got to have a lot of games, got to have a lot of fun, and definitely no more than a half an hour. There have been times when we'll have excited parents and excited children come in that want to play, with the idea that when it's time to stop, it's just time to stop. Just the 30-minute time limit is,
stop and talk about that for a minute. And I teach kids all day long, Monday through Friday, as you do as well. And with younger children, sometimes you have a parent who's focused on that 30 minutes. And so,
Right.
in fairness to them, we say it's a 30-minute lesson
Right.
usually. And so, like you said, games and things are interlaced to keep because their attention span can be that of a gnat some days and an
Yeah.
elephant another day.
Right,
It just
exactly.
it depends.
Exactly.
But when they're done with the lesson, it becomes counterproductive, I think, to
Sure.
keep going. Sometimes.
Absolutely. And that's where playing musical games and high sounds, low sounds, rhythmic things, movement is a really big thing. So if a 5-year-old that may be kind of struggling, maybe you've got another 10 minutes left, and with them, you may want to just really get into some rhythm games and some movement games. Movement is very, very important in music, to be able to feel through your body. That sense of steady beat and pulse and anticipation and rebound is huge.
When it comes to performance opportunities, what do you think kids should do, and how soon should they expect one? And we're talking about beginning students. Today,
Yeah,
but what do you
sure.
expect of a beginning student?
Oh, well, I think to be immersed in a kind of a culture or expectation, kind of, if you will, to pick up and play for family members, to pick up and play for friends. It's really important. Hey, look what I learned last week, or hey, look, I can do this, and show somebody what you can do. I think those formative experiences are important to developing an ease of natural playing ability, because let's face it, in music, it's performance is a part of music, but doesn't have to be everything. Performance can be a small part of what the goal is in music, or it can be a very large part of the goal in playing.
Well, now you work in a school setting as well.
I do, yeah.
Where you work with groups of kids. That's
Right.
in an orchestra setting, of course. And I know around our studio here are some very strong schools in the arts that have bands and orchestras where kids can pick up an instrument and start learning. And we, though, here at our studio focus on private study. And neither is exclusive of the other when a student is serious.
Exactly.
But which comes first? Or how do they assist one another? You teach in both worlds. What
Right.
makes the private experience good for a student who's involved in orchestra?
Oh, it makes the world a difference. I feel like the arts, the performing arts particularly, in this case, it's a very unique setting in the sense that when a child sits in a math class, the math teacher is teaching concepts and ideas that have to be expressed through writing, and really the only physical thing, the math teacher doesn't have to teach the student how to hold the pencil or the pen. The math teacher doesn't have to teach them how to manipulate the things other than a ruler or a protractor or something like that. So the teacher can focus on the knowing part of things. Whereas in what we do every day in orchestra or band or whatever the case may be, we not only have to teach students how to know about music, which is all the rhythms and pitches and positions and articulations, phrasing, dynamics, but we also have to teach them how to do those things. So, being constrained with an environment that a schedule is such that there's not enough time, the private lessons are so important in helping students achieve a holistic education on their instrument and how to manipulate and have good technique. Because as an orchestra director, I have block scheduling. So every other day I have my students for an hour and a half, and I have 58 students in one class. I can't get over and specify, I try, but get over to the cello section and have them, okay, this one needs this bow hold change, this one needs that left, elbow, and then go to the basses and the violas and the violins. It's a lot. So to be able to have the time outside of class to learn the manipulation we can then focus on ensembleship and the creativity across the ensemble during class.
Let's talk about an intermediate student. We talked about beginners.
Yeah.
You have someone that comes to you, they've been playing in the school orchestra for a while, they can read music. How do they benefit from private lessons?
Oh, well, at the intermediate level, that's another unique thing that, looking at, say, the performing arts compared to academics, we deal with the same pillars or 3 or 4 strands throughout the entire education of the child, just at different levels, whereas kind of in math, I mean, there are a lot of math concepts that, tending to precision, there's a lot of standards, math standards that continue through no matter what content is being taught in math. We deal with those same pillars. So at the intermediate level, they're doing the same thing, except at a different level, at a different intensity, I guess, if you will. So intermediate students who are participating in lessons really have an advantage, an enormous advantage to
the technique.
Yeah.
That's something you can't always get from the director because he's focused on the entire orchestra, your own technique and how well you play.
Exactly.
You take that back to the orchestra.
And you think about the ability to work on sight reading. Sight reading is huge, to be able to take the equivalent of walking into a library, taking a book off the shelf and being able to read a wonderful story, a beautiful story that
I think we need a little break here to hear what Joel can do on the fiddle. What do you think? Another topic. Fiddling. What's the difference between fiddling and playing the violin?
Oh, well, the less you practice the violin, the more it sounds like a actually, no, there really is no technical difference in the instrument. Some fiddlers would prefer a bridge that's a little flatter so that they can play double stops or 2 notes at the same time, a little easier. Mm-hmm. They can be a little bit more dirty in their playing, I guess, if for lack of a better term. But physically, there's no difference. However, with the right hand, oh my goodness, there is an immense difference.
Do you tune the instrument differently to fiddle, or can you?
Yeah. Generally speaking, most it depends. There are alternate tunings that you can do in fiddling, but 98% of fiddling, North American fiddling, is pretty much standard tuning. But for the life of me, my Uncle Donnie, he's won fiddle championships left and right, and for the life of me, I cannot sound like him, no matter how hard I try. It's just something that's in the right hand, and you look at Celtic, Irish. I mean, even within Ireland, there are the different counties in Ireland have different articulations and styles with their bowing. So it's just a wide range of how we say a phrase with our right hand, and all of the elements. Most fiddlers. I mean, fiddling is like the people's music. It's the jazz of orchestra world, so it's a very accessible thing, and it shouldn't be one of those things that is really intense, and it can be, but it shouldn't be. It should be fun and enjoyable. And I think in my experience teaching students how to fiddle, they get pretty. If they do get discouraged, it's because they're not sounding the way that they want to sound. And you just got to have a little bit more patience, and just like anything in life.
Let's put a classical spin on some fiddling. Fiddlers I've heard sound like they're having fun.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what we tend to equate fiddling with, happy, upbeat music, but it can actually be very emotional and
absolutely
somber.
Yes.
Good stuff. Well, if you could instill something in all of your students that they take away from your studio, what would that one principle be?
Wow. That's a profound question.
And you can come back in 3 weeks after you think about it. No.
I think my biggest takeaway for students is that they have learned something about themselves. My goal in instruction is to create independent students who don't need a teacher. And if they can walk out of lessons feeling like they have achieved the goals that they wanted or are satisfied in the direction that they're going, then I'm happy to. You got to have fun. I mean, strings playing is hard.
We're developing musicians,
right?
I like it when a student gets ahead of me.
Yeah.
It used, as a young teacher, it intimidated me. I was like, oh, you didn't follow the lesson. You're ahead of me. You've gone, and I've seen that panic other teachers,
right?
And it's panicked me before. I'm not judging. I'm just saying,
yeah, right.
When you have a student like that, but the truth is, that's what we want. We want to develop an independent musician, someone who's taking control, responsibly, and developing their musicianship.
Absolutely, and I think I spend the majority. I work the Stillwell School of the Arts is just an amazing program with super high level students, and working with the teenage brain. It's just like I really want them to know that they've learned something about themselves, because music is a catalyst for a lot of important things in life. And no matter if you are pursuing a professional pathway or a more personal pathway or amateur pathway, there is so much to be learned through music, and you can't learn it all. I've been performing for 28 years, and how long have I been teaching? At least 10 years in the classroom and 15 privately, and through all of that time, I still don't know it all, and it's just. That's what I love about teaching. That's what I love about the musical experience. So hopefully when I leave myself, I would have learned a little something about myself after I left.
Yeah. Music is such a potent, powerful force in this world. Well, Joel, is so good to have you at Pedal Point Music, and I'm so glad I've gotten you on the podcast today. Anything else you want to put in here?
I'm super excited to be here. I love the studio. I love the space. It's just wonderful.
Oh, go on. No, we were very happy you're here.
Yeah.
And looking forward to seeing the growth. Joel Perkins, teacher, instructor at Pedal Point Music and elsewhere. And if you want to know more about him, go to our website, pedalpointmusic.com. Look under the instructors. You'll find him there. You can read his biography and we can get you connected with him for lessons.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Will.
Wow, what a fascinating conversation we've had today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please let us know about it. Write to us at William Tells, WILLIAMTELLS at pedalpointmusic.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you have some ideas for a future episode of private music study or musicianship, please include that as well. Now we're all out of time today, so until next time, please remember that music is the constant voice beneath the progressions of life. William Tells is a production of Pedal Point Music in Atlanta, Georgia.